Today we are in Luxembourg, one of the smallest countries in the world, but also one of the richest. We are here to visit Ma Langue Sourit, which translates into My Tongue is Smiling, and is a restaurant that is run and operated by Cyril Molard. It has 2 stars in the Michelin guides and features innovative French gastronomy using more or less ingredients sourced by the nearby area of Luxembourg. Once you enter the building, you will be met by a very trendy dining room setting, and on the walls you will find artwork that will make you smile throughout the evening. There's a 6-course or 8-course menu to choose from. I chose the 6-course menu tonight. We started off with a few different snacks. One traditional pâté en croûte and a few variations of eel. For you who have seen a couple of episodes now understands that I absolutely love classical French cooking. When it's done well, I think it's one of the divinities that you rarely see around these days. This pâté en croûte was flawless. Using eel as the core ingredients for the snacks was a very interesting choice by the chef. All of the different snacks had a unique flavor profile and were very pleasant to eat. My favorite among them was the torched eel on the cracker with the cheese cream. It was truly delicious to eat. Now coming to the bread serving, we had 2 different butters here on the plate. So one was with different herbs and one was a natural salted butter. 2 different breads were offered. One was a very nice and soft one made out of buckwheat, and then there was a classic sourdough bread also. Beside the 2 different kinds of butter, we were also offered a high quality Greek olive oil. It was grassy but also had floral notes and large complexity, and was very pleasant to dip your bread in. Now it was time for the first dish of the menu. This consisted of red beets, tonka bean, caviar and lemon. It was probably one of the most beautiful dishes I've seen in a long time. The purple-pink deep color together with the more darker color of the red beet and the black Belgic caviar. Truly divine to look at. This was a very interesting eat. The earthiness from the red beets and the slightly sweet foam that was also made from the same ingredients, together with the Belgic caviar and the baked red beet, was really special to eat. But what really lifted this dish to another level was to use the tonka bean. Tonka bean can be sometimes a very strong flavor, but here it was just in the background and it added a complexity to the dish which I haven't tasted before. It was very interesting and it was very good. Great start of the menu.
Please, and we just continue here with the Abalon. Abalon is cooked with thyme and parsley. We just set it inside different sauce. You have the parsley coulis, the watercress and vinegar coulis, and the herbs oil. You can just try maybe the condiment to eat with the spinach and lemon. Enjoy, sir.
Abalone or sea ears is part of the mollusk family, and compared to mussel they have a very meaty and firm texture. The abalone here was grilled and was paired with a lot of different green vegetables. The vegetables were really in the background here, and the abalone was of a very high quality. In fact, it was one of the best abalones I've ever tried in my whole life. The flavor was deep, intense of ocean, and the texture was really tender, but at the same time it was meaty and was really pleasant to chew on. Everything here really worked well together, and this was one of the highlights of the meal. It didn't look that much from the beginning, but boy did it really deliver on the taste.
Ce Ptiv, the lobsters, mule neck, and duck liver inside.
Then came the Ptiv of lobster, foie gras, oranges and leek. Now, I really love Ptiv as a concept of a dish when you're filling it with different delicious things. Here with the lobster, it didn't work that well for me. When you have a larger piece of something, it's a little bit difficult to get the distribution all over the Ptiv inside. And I would maybe have rather seen that they've cut the lobster in smaller pieces and maybe mixed it up in a mousseline or something, just to have it a little bit more even. It was good, but it could have been better. Now, on a flavor point of view here, the flavors were really intense, and what really took over here was the sauce. It was a quite heavily reduced type of bisque, and that was the flavor that I can taste throughout the dish here. So I would say the foie and the leeks and even the oranges, everything was a little bit left in the background, and the sauce was dominating a little bit too much. This was not the favorite dish of the evening, but still held up a high quality of a dish.
So to continue, we have, so as you said, we have the turbo fish, which is grilled on the barbecue. And to go with it on the side, you have the first asparagus of the season. This one comes from the region in France of La Loire. You will find some mushroom also, spring mushrooms. You have a nice work around the caper. There is some dried caper, caper leaves, sorry, which are marinated. And you have a condiment with it, which is wasabi and Romanesco cabbage, and just a little dot of black garlic to give it a nice flavor. And for the sauce, we have a warm emulsion, kind of a sabayon, which is made with caper juice to give it a nice acidity and go with the fatness of the fish.
Here I was presented with an extra dish from the kitchen which wasn't included in the 6-course menu. I really like this dish. The turbo was cooked to perfection, the asparagus as well, and using the capers here together with the black garlic and some herbs was a really nice dish to eat. And almost like a hollandaise sauce that was on the side where they used the caper juice for bringing some acidity and some other flavor profile, worked really well with this dish. Fresh, light and nice. A smaller fish dish was presented before the main course. This consisted of haddock, parsley and wild garlic. Everything worked in good balance here, and I particularly liked how the wild garlic wasn't too dominating in this dish. The small pastry brick on the top here gave some textural elements. And with that said though, this wasn't the most interesting dish of the evening, but it was a good dish and I was looking forward to the main course now.
So for continue you have a meat, you have a beef, and for the beef you need a knife. For the knife, the wood is different for the knife, but the blade is the same. Okay. And on the blade you have a wood right. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Here we go, sir. So we'll just do here the black Angus beef, which is smoked slightly with a flavor, not too much. The beef sauce it's prepared with a bit of beetroot juice inside. You have on the side a carrot cooked inside tangerine and kumquat sauce, and the tarte tatin of shallots and carrots.
Thank you.
It was a really nice touch to be able to choose your own knife, and these type of gestures from the service staff is something that I highly appreciate. Now, at first glance looking at the dish, I wasn't too sure about it. Everything was a little bit scattered around, with the meat, lying on one side, one single carrot with some juice underneath it, and then the shallot tart that was a little bit on the offside there, so I wasn't too sure how this will end up. But as soon as I started tasting the dish, I was convinced. Boy did it deliver on flavor. The meat was so tender and so full of flavor with that lightly smoked touch in the background, lifted up by just a little bit of that sauce on the side there. And then the carrot that was cooked in some citrusy juices gave a really nice fruity touch to the dish. And then we had the shallot tart that was on the side, which gave some textural elements and also some other dimensions of flavor notes and a little bit of texture as well. This was one of the best main courses I've had in a long time. Really good job here. I didn't have room for cheese today, but just seeing the cheese trolley go around the tables and people engaging in the different local and other varieties that were on there. It's a pleasure to see, and it's one of those expertises in a serving staff that is, a pure joy to listen into.
First desserts. We have a small concept on the restaurant, which is the garden tart. Garden tart is made with some vegetable, almost, and some fruit, and they change.
This was the first of 2 desserts presented tonight. Now, hearing the serving staff explaining the dish to me, I was a little bit afraid of how everything would come together here. Using the radishes, cumin and pine sorbet, could it really work in a good way? After tasting the dish, my worries was actually gone. Everything worked together here in an interesting way and still had the concept of a dessert, but using more vegetables and trees rather than traditional ingredients that you will see in a dessert. Moving on to the second desserts here, using rhubarb, almond and white chocolate, I felt a little bit more secure about this flavor combination. However, when I digged into it, I thought that the balance here was a little bit off. It was a little bit too tart for my flavor, and I would have expected maybe to be a little bit sweeter than it actually was. So it was enjoyable to eat, it had texture, it had freshness, but I was lacking the sweetness just to lift it up to that dessert level that I was expecting. Ending the meal came in some petit fours. There were 5 different varieties, they were very colorful and had each unique flavor profiles. They all were enjoyable to eat, and my favorite among them were the milk jam praline. It had a very hard outer shell and a liquid center, which really hit the spot for me. So what did I think about my visit here at Ma Langue Sourit? Well, I have to say that this was one of the most interesting restaurant visits I've had in a long time. I think the cooking of Chef Cyril Molard here was very unique. He based everything on a classical foundation, but really used innovative touches throughout the menu, which I appreciated a lot. I think with small adjustments here, maybe at the start of the meal with the snacks and maybe some fine tuning on the more substantial courses, and also maybe looking a little bit into the petit fours and lifting them up to the next level. This restaurant has potential to be a very high claimed restaurant in the future. I would not be surprised if we will see this one have 3 Michelin stars in the near future, and that will be rating over 95 points on my scoring. However, keeping with the scoring for the food that was presented for today, I'm putting the food here at 92 points. Very solid, very enjoyable to eat, fruity, innovative touches throughout the meal, very good. When it comes to the service rating here, I'm placing that at 90 points. So the service staff were very flexible and really adjusting to my speed of eating. They were attentive and very friendly throughout the evening. So very good on that point. So when it comes to the value scoring of this restaurant, you can see the bill popping up here to the left. This was including a 6-course menu, half a wine package and coffee at the end. So I'm putting the score here at the same as the food, 92 points. It was really high value, I think, for the level of food that was presented tonight. So this brings the overall score rating up to 91.5 points. Really good, and if you are in Luxembourg and can travel a little bit outside of the city, do that and visit this restaurant. Okay, that brings end to this episode. Hope to see you next time, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.